Good morning, everyone. Thank you and welcome here at this presentation. My name is Jorn Moreland. I'm with US Customer Success Organization. I'm joined by Stefan Jacobs from the Dutch Talent Acquisition team. And this morning we want to talk about arguably the most critical part of the critical component of the Mendix adoption and the execution of a digital transformation roadmap. The team and the people the team consists of. We wanted to touch on three main topics. First, the team structure. We want to talk about the size of the team, the skill sets required, the roles that you want to have in your team. And then Stefan will take it over and we will talk about sourcing. What kind of sourcing models can you look at to find the talent for your team? Stefan will discuss a couple of general patterns we see in the market. And we will talk about profiles. I get the question a lot actually, what makes a good Mendix profile? And it's actually a hard question. And I've been surprised and disappointed, but there's a couple of, I guess, generic pointers that we can give you. So it's the purpose of this presentation to give you kind of like a mental model how to think about building your team in the start, structure, and skill stages. Not necessarily to give you an all-encompassing, exhaustive list of things you need to do or not to do. Before we dive in, I just want to give a short reiteration of the two main frameworks models that Mendix uses in the execution of the Digital Transformation Roadmap and the adoption of the Mendix platform. First, the Digital Transformation Roadmap, start, structure, skill. When adopting the Mendix platform, we typically see, well, successful customers that adopt the Mendix platform go to typical three main stages. First, the start, where the main purpose is proving out a working business model. You start with a small, digestible application, build it out in 30 to 60 days, no longer in a small team, learn from your mistakes, replicate successes, and use it as an input to start scaling up. In the structure phase, it's all about identifying the right skill set for your team. What skill sets do I have based on the portfolio and applications that I'm going to build? And how can I bring that in-house? Scaling is all about adopting it throughout the enterprise. So it's really about cutting your dependencies and bring all these skill sets in-house. The four main ingredients in a successful adoptions are listed here at the 4 Ps: portfolio, people, process, and platform. The portfolio is the set of applications that you're going to build on the Mendix platform. And those, in essence, drive the other 3 Ps. So the team, the structure of your team, the skill sets that you have in your team really depend on the type of applications that you want to build. So is the methodology that you want to roll out in your governance model, as well as the architecture covered in the platform piece. So what does your integration look like? What does your overall architecture look like? So in this session, I want to talk, Stefan and I will talk about the people component of the Mendix adoption. So 10 years ago, and hopefully all of you saw Derek's presentation, Derek, Roald started Mendix with the frustration that IT projects seem to fail. They stretch long and long, and the main purpose, one of the key purposes of reasons for that was the collaboration between business and IT. And this message is more relevant than ever, not only on the executive level, but also very much on the operational level. So everything we do from the technology side as well as from the management side is all about business and IT collaboration. So that is what you will see back in this presentation. So how do I start? How do I start with a team? First, you pick the small, typically digestible application, and you create a project team. So it all starts with the business sponsor, someone with pain, someone with budget, someone with a problem that cannot be solved with adding process, adding people, someone that needs a technologist to solve this problem. And that's where the Mendix lead developer comes in. The Mendix lead developer is someone that can solve business with the technology, with the Mendix platform. It's not someone that is a developer on a Java or .NET stack. It's someone that is capable of challenging the business, someone that can take business problems, business challenges, and translating that in a technology solution, a technology experience. And that's really it. That's all you need, in essence, for your start phase. In reality, though, we see that the business sponsor is typically an executive in your organization that is time constrained, is not ad hoc available, and assigns a product owner, someone that has core business knowledge, someone that's a subject matter expert, someone that is ad hoc available for the lead developer, someone that works side by side on a continuous basis developing the solution. What we see too is that the lead developer, the person priming the delivery, is typically occupied and working very closely, especially in the start phase, but also on a continued basis. So we see typically the need for an additional developer, a business engineer, that is full-time in the development mode. So a good thing to do is also to, when you're looking at your organization, to probably someone within your organization provide that role. So use the initial start phase as a kind of like a training ground for the business engineer to learn the Mendix platform and then provide continuity after the solution is delivered. And lastly, we see the need for what we call fly-in experts. Those are resources with skill sets that are available on an ad hoc basis with a specific proficiency. For example, in UX UI, so especially in the beginning phase, you want to have a good user experience and good user interface being designed. Probably later stages, you see the need for integration experts required to develop, to attach the solution to the backend systems, or perhaps widgets or other components that are required. So those are typically sourced from either Mendix or a Mendix partner to help the customer be successful in that. And that is honestly really the team that you want to have in place in the start phase. Those are the roles that we see. So a couple of do's and don'ts, things that are open doors, but things that still go wrong all the time. Best practices. How do you want to make sure your first start phase is successful? The most effective teams are teams that are working together on site, business and IT, developer sitting next to the business, the product owner or the subject matter expert. I've seen many reasons why people don't adhere to this, but this is a key recipe for a successful delivery and a potential failure of the project as well. Find team members, find people that care about solving business problems. We're not looking for developers that are used to read requirements from spreadsheets and translate into code. We need people that truly care, irrespective of the technology, and in this case Mendix, to solve business problems for the business with Mendix as the technology. It's a key mistake that I see time and time again going wrong, especially in the start phase. So let's have a healthy mix of junior and senior team members. It's a great way to teach your people how to build on the Mendix platform right from the start by including them in the team. However, make sure that you definitely have at least one very experienced key lead developer that actually can carry the project. So it's a good thing to train your people up, but make sure you have that experience in place and either look at the partner community or Mendix. We're always there to help. And one thing that we see some of our customers doing well is to include operations people in the start phase, so you can actually have a first step into a DevOps, build this first step into the DevOps organization. A couple of things that I see going wrong all the time. Force mode 2 people working in a mode 1 people working in a mode 2 mindset. So people that are very used to working in a waterfall methodology, people that are in delivery cadences of months, if not years. It's really too hard to change that mindset into a very iterative delivery cycle, especially in the start phase when you want to really talk about proving out your success. You wanted to look at people that are very used to that mindset and that type of methodology. Adding separate team members for each role. So what I see a lot is that we bloat project teams with project managers, testers, QA people. In essence, for every single role we have an individual. A product owner can easily be an agile scrum master or a project manager, especially if the application is very digestible and small. Keep it really lean. And lastly, don't let people do Mendix development on the side. A classic example where someone has all kinds of responsibility, a critical incident occurs, they have to run off, miss these stand-ups. You cannot do Mendix development on the side, not in that start phase. Be focused, be dedicated, be committed to the success of that initial delivery. After a successful first proof, a first start phase, the next question becomes, how do I replicate this delivery model? And how do I deal with more complex projects? And that's when you start thinking about structuring and about the structure phase. So the first important step is to talk about the type, or to think about the type of applications that you want to build. There's many ways to go about this, many ways to think about this. And the model that we typically use is the matrix over complexity and exposure. Complexity, talk about the complexity of the technical solution, and exposure is the exposure to the external users that you're going to roll it out to. So you can imagine that an application that is rolled out to your end user, to your customers, is a lot heavier on the UX and the UI than an application that is only used for internally. So you're going to start plotting the type of applications on this matrix, so you have a really good understanding what applications that you want to build, how many, in what timelines, and what is the complexity and the exposure of those solutions, so you can actually select the right team members for your team. In the structure phase, it is really about duplicating your success. So you're starting to skill up over separate development threads, and still typically using external experts to provide that, the fly-in expert, provide that coverage for the different development threads. So based on the type of applications that you're building, you probably need UX and UI experts, specific architects to connect your applications to your backend system, widgets on an ad hoc basis, and try to do as much as you can in-house yourself, train your people, but the reality is that you probably rely still on the Mendix partner community and some of the Mendix experts to be successful in this phase. Then the question becomes, how do I cut dependencies and how do I create consistency? And that is where you start thinking about scaling up in your digital enterprise. And that kind of really depends on how big and how large your organization is. So what you want to do is bring expertise in-house and create a center of excellence. We typically see that someone with some kind of expensive name like Digital Innovation Practice Leader is managing the team, reporting up to the CIO or CDO, and a core team that is sitting in that IT organization that has that specific expertise around UX, UI, performance, widget building, etc. There might still be a need for a fly-in expert because you don't have, like, a full-time, you need a full-time resource for that specific expertise. And then you see teams sitting directly in the business over your different business lines, developing solutions together with your business, supported by this center of excellence. So let me illustrate that with one example. That is a very typical example that we see like recently in the North American market. So we have a customer that was used to going through a very much a waterfall process when developing solutions. So they went to requirements gathering sessions of like 18 months. Then development took, well, a relatively short period of 3 to 4 to 6 months, and then another rollout. And what they figured was that it is not acceptable to almost take 2 years to deliver a solution. And as a matter of fact, after those 18 months of requirements gathering and development, when they started the rollout, they figured out that the solution that they were building was actually not meeting the needs of the business. So the rollout would take another 10 months while they were refactoring the solution, or just, no, in a lot of cases they had a failure as well. So they needed to change, and they needed a solution, a technology, a platform to support that. So with Mendix, they found Mendix, and with Mendix we changed the way they worked with the business and developed solutions. So what we did was, instead of like going to 18-month cycle and figuring out that maybe the solution was not the right fit for the business, we actually went to short proof of concepts, iteration cycles together with the business, providing them a delivery within 5 days, sometimes 10 days. And then figuring out that maybe the solution was not necessarily a mobile front end, but a desktop solution with some mobile capabilities, instead of figuring that out 18 months later. So we selected 2 applications, built a team around that, and delivered that in 3 months. So the team consisted of a business sponsor, an executive that was reporting directly to the CIO, that designated a product owner, someone that decision-making power, someone that was a great project manager, someone that understood the business very well, and someone that was ad hoc, consistently available. We had the Mendix lead developer that was mentoring a business engineer from this organization while developing these 2 solutions, and we had a UX UI expert from Mendix on the team as well. In addition to that, we had to tie into SAP. So the customer supplied us with a integration expert that built the APIs to connect with the backend. So that also allowed us to build reusable assets that we then could repurpose for additional deliveries down the road. Then we went into then we defined the application. So we sat down, plotted the type of applications that we wanted to build on the complexity exposure matrix, and you see that they mostly were internal and not necessarily had a lot of exposure to external stakeholders, so it didn't necessarily have to be heavy on the UI, UX, but there was definitely a high level of complexity in it as well when it came to integration, etc. So we built them a team that was supervised by the practice leader, directly reporting up to the CIO. They went to 4 separate development threads. They built a center of excellence that in this scenario was actually consisting of Mendix partner resources. So they're embedded in that organization. They are like a key part of the customer development team, but they're sourced from the partner community. And that was a specific deliberate choice because they didn't want to change the mode, convert the mode 2 mentality to a mode 1 mentality people to a mode 2 organization. They're usually successful. They are actually having, at this point, like a little bit over 18 months later, 15 applications built, and they're looking to double that over the coming 9 months. So, a couple of key takeaways. If you remember one of them, I'll be very happy and I'll be successful in this presentation. So, select the right application to start with. Find the right app. Don't boil the ocean. I have projects that are still like taking a year to start with. If you don't have complex application, make it easy. Make it small, make it simple. It's about proving out a delivery model. It is not about, addressing your main pain points. Not from the start. Keep the team lean. Keep it small. Don't have a individual for every role that you can even imagine, existing project. Keep it as small as possible. It is possible, and it is so much easier. You'll find it out. Sit with the business. Sit in the business. Be on site as much as you can. A no-brainer, but I see it going wrong, still time and time again. And then lastly, and it's a good segue into the next portion of this session, select the right people. That makes all the difference. And Stefan will talk about how to source these people and what are the right profiles for your team. Thank you.
Thank you, Jorn. My name is Stefan Jacobs, and at Mendix I'm responsible for finding more talent in the EMEA region. My career as a recruiter started back in the days in the parks when I was always very eager to find friends to assemble my football team. And actually now during my professional career I've taken this to the next level. As Jorn indicated, during the years at Mendix we've created a nice blueprint in organizing and setting up your first Mendix team. But of course, the question is, how will we find and recruit these talents? In this part of the people aspect in digital transformation, I would first like to give some criteria in selecting the right partner. Next, I would like to provide branding and recruiting tips and tricks. Next to that, I would like to share with you some experience I've seen in my years in recruiting IT talent, trends in the market. And I would finally, I would like to illustrate some typical profiles, competencies, and do's and don'ts in engaging with talent in the IT industry. First of all, how do you assess which partner, is worth your investing your budget? We have some general criteria for this. The size of your possible partner, but even more important, how readily available are the Mendix business engineers? What's the degree of certification, the amount of lead developers that they have? As Jorn explained, especially in the beginning of your team, and to get a high productivity, a lead developer is a big necessity. Do you want them, should they deliver regionally, or should they be able to deliver in multiple regions, or even in multiple countries? What kind of maturity phase are they in? Are they, for instance, capable of flying in experts, when you're scaling up? Looking into support, do they only provide support during office hours, or extended office hours, or even 24/7? Are they opportunistic in embracing, for instance, a platform like Mendix? Or are they truly a strategic partner in your transformation journey? Do you want to take ownership yourself? Or do you want your partner to take the full responsibility? And at last, but not least, do they have experience in enabling change, in enabling digital transformation? On the hosting, deploying aspect, do they have a lot of experience purely in on-premise hosting, or experience also in private, in public clouds? How many apps have they delivered? How many clients have they helped? Which verticals do they operate in, and do they have experience in? What's their core competency in the services they provide? And looking into these technical domains, where have they proven capability in delivering? Looking at these niches. So not budget, not technology, but talent issues are the biggest barrier to CIO success. It's been pointed out by a number of colleagues and guests during these days. So I have a question, after more than a day of interesting Mendix presentations, who of you are thinking about starting an innovation team, or have made the first step in building an innovation team? No. Slowly more fingers come up, not that many, okay. And who are already now facing challenges in attracting the right IT talent? More, okay. Well, I hope to give you some key takeaways to start tackling these challenges. First of all, during the years, actually already when I started way back, back then already there was a huge shortage in available IT talent. Candidates are in the driver's seat. There are 10 times more developer vacancies than developers available. And in the end, we're all fishing in the same pond. So how can you stand out? If you have plans, or if you are starting with building an innovation team, building an innovation lab, ideally a Mendix Center of Excellence, messages out to the market. Compensation, during the 6 years of experience that I have, very fast I've seen the compensation of IT specialists, that they catched up, looking into other specific professions. So you should ask yourself, should I review my compensation, especially for new talent that you want to bring in? And you can say that most of our recruiting efforts are focused on, so to say, the Generation Y. They are demanding towards their employer, They work hard, but they expect flexibility. They see the culture of their employer as kind of a personal brand. They attach little value to authority. So, yeah, for instance, what we've done at Mendix is creating a culture in which they can become best of breed in their profession, create autonomous teams, strive for a common purpose where we're all aiming at. Oh, my last bullet point. More pragmatic in connecting, in approaching talent. Nowadays, a proactive approach is necessary, to be able to have your recruiting efforts, close to in line with the business needs. Build talent pools, organize informal events. Focus a lot on referral recruitment. Looking to the interview process, an interview process for a talented IT candidate, with most of the time will have multiple options going on. Keep it to a max of 3 weeks, ideally 2 weeks, and no more than two stages in which you will interview the candidate, and the candidate will interview you. And finally, think about getting on board a specialized IT recruitment agency. Generic agencies, they will most likely they will not have a big enough network in IT to be able to deliver on time. Specialized recruitment agencies, they have invested years and years in building a network in IT. And actually, I've found out in the market that there are already recruitment agencies really focused on specializing in Mendix business engineers. In the branding, if you as an organization are thinking of or making the first step in embracing new technology like Mendix, let the market know. Once more, organize informal, approachable, knowledge-sharing events, and especially don't put the recruiter stamp on it, or else you will not have that many guests. Make it really on a low threshold. Explain when you're approaching candidates, but also when marketing out your brand, that there's a huge career opportunity in digital transformation and change. What we see also nowadays is that persons that don't have a hard coding experience, they still, with model-driven engineering, they can become integrated part of a software development delivery process, and that's huge, very interesting experience for further on in their career. Share your vision about strategic innovation. It's not an easy journey, but complex and tough projects attract the best talent. At Mendix, to show you that it doesn't have to be expensive to start building your brand or add more information or content to your brand. At Mendix, we organize an internal competition. Which team could edit the best video? And in the end, the winning team got a dining voucher. So the costs were very marginal. I'd like to share this with you.
Wow.
So be creative. More specific, we have a client that organized internally an introduction to Mendix during a meetup, and it was in the end an ideal natural filtering because they voluntarily invited all the IT staff, And in the end, mode one, so to say, IT or developers that were genuinely interested, they took part. And yeah, so they could pick out, cherry pick possible internal employees already suitable to start the innovation lab. You could focus on graduates, but also other junior professionals, but also employees that have been in your organization for a long time. Offer them Mendix training, Mendix certification, project experience. Yeah, and once more, I've said it already, promote your plans or your vision on the Mode 2 organization. And for you for guests that have seen more presentations in this digital transformation track, it's been said earlier, share the buzz. Once you have had a wow effect in a certain department, create interdepartmental enthusiasm. First of all, it's a big open door, but don't be dependent on traditional job boards and old school job descriptions. For instance, focusing on fresh graduates, with a pragmatic approach that want to solve or improve real business problems, that want to speak with the business, with the end users, that truly care about solving problems. LinkedIn, we all know LinkedIn. Actually, in the Netherlands, we have the highest percentage of the workforce that has a LinkedIn profile. But next to all the content and posting vacancies, there are very nice features in LinkedIn to start building, to have a nice platform to start building your brand. Short while back, LinkedIn launched a new search tool, which is very user-friendly. You don't need any difficult Boolean searches anymore. It's a great way to find, to compare current talent that you have, of which you're a big fan, and translate that to the market. And next I want to point your attention to our Mendix developer website, of which I will tell you more later. But we have a fast-growing community, and a lot of them are out there. The profiles and the competencies. First of all, don't focus too much recruiting efforts, as Jorn also already said, on the typical Java, C#, .NET profiles. Focus your efforts more on the business-savvy techies or the tech-savvy business problems, people that really want to solve and improve real business problems, to become successful and productive in the Mendix platform. Knowledge about the business is at least equally important as technical knowledge. Focus on competencies, less on experience. I will come back to that. As Jorn also indicated, in a Mendix team, next to the business sponsor, the product owner, the lead developer, focus on Mendix business engineers, and recent graduates are an ideal pool to fill that position and finish off first teams. Open doors, but also in this context, team players, and then the right mindset to get stuff done. And for inspiration, you can go to the Mendix developer website. There you can explore the diversity of Mendix business engineers that are around. The Mendix platform enables you to be productive very fast. So it's more important to focus on competencies and mindset than on past experience. So once more, graduates, great, they finish off a team perfectly. And what you actually have is that graduates, but this also counts for junior professionals, or even people that have been in your organization for a very long time. We had people, IT specialists, with 20 to 30 years experience doing Mendix certifications, and who are now very productive with our platform. But you have a great combination of a domain knowledge, and as you can get productive in our platform very fast, that they can also deliver. And finally, I want to give some do's and don'ts and tips and tricks I've learned during the years about job descriptions. How can you generate love at first sight? I'm saying here, but in these days that people have a very short attention span, how will you hook them to your job description? how do you get a lot of traction? Now, this is an example of a long client of ours. I want to read it together with you. So as a business engineer, you'll be joining the innovation lab here at Company X. This is a truly exciting part of the business. They're a small, dedicated team dedicated to developing, trialing, and implementing rapid business solutions in a highly collaborative way using Agile and Scrum practices. They just make change happen. Not restricted by usual business processes, they're able to quickly turn around new and innovative ideas based on business needs and requests. And actually, this client of ours is very successful in recruiting their own staff. For a very small amount, they are dependent on partners. So they have a short title. First impression is spot on. You know, possible suitable candidates are really want to read the complete job description. Then the competency skills you're looking for. I would never make this list too long. What will happen then is that possible very good candidates, you know, they will be scared away. As in my experience, especially IT specialists, you know, if you have a list of 20 bullet points, that maybe they're good like at 15 or 16, but still they will not react because they're lacking a couple. So I would keep it very small and focus on competencies, on mindset. You know, candidates that really want to solve business problems. You see the mindset of being collaborative. To end this presentation, I would like to give you away some analytics of our Mendix developer website and also provide some key takeaways. We already have 120,000 unique page views on our website. Every month we grow with 15%. There are over 1,500 job views. Soon to be released is a partner overview and rating. The degree of certifications, the level of certifications will be there, verticals where they have experience in, but also objective client reviews. And currently there are over 1,500 active developers on our developer website. And an active developer is a developer who does 2 commits every month and 1 deployment. Then to end, the key takeaways: be creative in your recruitment efforts. You need a proactive approach. You need good functionality, for instance, also in your HR or ATS system to track talent and to build that relationship. Focus more on competencies and mindset than on past experience and then on hard coding skills. And for inspiration, have a look at our Mendix developer website. Thank you all, and enjoy the rest of the program.
As we are a little bit delayed, we have a few minutes for questions. Is there anyone that has a question for either Stefan or me? Oscar, not you. Yes, they will be made available. Yeah, I can send them to you as well if you want. Anyone else? All right, so the whole program is delayed with 15 minutes. So for those who want to see the next presentation here, it will be Nick Ford. He will talk about adopting agile methodologies in your Mode 2 organization. So you saw Nick Ford probably on stage this morning. So very interesting session as well. So if you want to see that, just hang on here. We'll be starting, I think, at 12:15 or 12:15. 12:30. Okay, 12:30. And well, thanks everyone for your time here. Much appreciated.